Have a nice day. Welcome to the fourth and final part of this webinar. Rendering is like photography, applying the principles of architectural photography to your renderings. Part 4, Enscape case study, from model to visualization. Today, we want to leave the theory behind and create beautiful and good images. My name is Aryan Mirfendereski. I am an architect and architectural photographer. And I had the great pleasure to talk with you about many aspects of my work in the last captures of this series. Aspects of my work that overlap with aspects of your work as an architect and visualizer. Therefore, I am very happy to welcome Norbert Gräser from Enscape at this point.
Yeah, hello. Also from my side, my name is Norbert Gräser. I'm the team lead of the application engineers here at Enscape, and in the last years I worked in many different positions and role within the complete AEC industry, from 3D artist and trainer to BIM consultant and entrepreneur. And I'm also really happy to be here together with you, Aryan. And today I have the role to act as you, as an architect, as a designer, 3D artist, and with the help of Aryan, I will see what I can get out of my Enscape visualizations for an actual project that I'm working on.
Rendering is like photography, so let's start. We have already talked about the eye of the photographer, what makes a good picture, the photographer's camera and lenses, technically created stylistic elements, and opponents and allies, because opponents can be allies. Those videos can be found on the Enscape website and on YouTube if you are interested. In the following webinar, we will cover an Enscape case study. Now we would like to go step by step from model to visualization. And here's the plan. The model, project overview, what you see, adjusting perspectives, crops, scenarios, and the lighting, what you get, rendering, the perspectives, the post-production, bring things to the point, and a short summary, what we've already talked about. The model, project overview. Norbert, you have already provided me with a model as a standalone executable. Thank you very much for that. I have already looked at the model from the outside and the inside, as well as the perspectives that you had saved in the views. That all worked out wonderfully. Can you give me a few key points about the design, what it is, what it can do architecturally, and what special features are to be emphasized?
Yeah, for sure. So this is a little school in a small town, a really lovely place we have here. It's covered by a little river, and there is a lot of green around, and so that's why also for us it was important to stay with that approach, to have really a green surrounding, to use sustainable materials like wood, and also for all the installation stuff we really want to provide a project that has a sustainable approach for the city. And so that's the project. And as you already looked into it from the project, you've seen that we have some perspectives that I want to go over with you and to make the best out of them for our clients.
Great. So it's already quite clear who the users of the object will be, and you already said the target group for the visualizations is the city. You want to present the concept?
Yes, that's right. So we have a presentation for the city council, and there are also some people from the public that should get an idea of how the school can look like, and to go in the next phase of the project, we need their approval, and we also want to take the public with us, that they're also covering the project, and to go with our ideas. And that's why we need some nice pictures of it. And we already worked on 3 perspectives of it, and let's start to have a look how we can improve them, or what you think about the perspectives we've chosen. And I provided you with the executable and the pictures before.
Yes, but I now understand for who you are visualizing for, and I understand your thoughts in pre-selecting the perspectives. You approached the building and its architecture from outside by embedding it in nature before you then enter it. So let's start with the first one, of course.
Yes, this is the starting picture we would choose. So we want to show how someone is entering it. We want to emphasize the complete building structure, and also our architectural approach with this of flowing structures and lines, and not building a simple box, but something that's really integrating into the green and into the nature, especially with the little stream going around.
So I think perhaps you shouldn't try to show too many informations in one perspective. So perhaps you should try to go from the air level to the eye level, to give up the view. We would give up the view through the building, but you don't have to show everything in one perspective. We take care of the architectural features with the following perspectives, but there I would find more interesting. I would find it more interesting to tell it from a student's point of view. So perhaps we should lower the perspective to tell the story of arrival. From the eye of the students and the parents. And in this case, it's still possible to show the bridge, to show the river, to show the green, but the main actor should not be the school building from the bird's eye view.
So maybe having something like that, like approaching to the school, walking towards, seeing also a bit of the river.
Yes. Now there is a tree on the right side cutting the building, and the bridge is very dominant in the picture. Perhaps you could rotate, just rotate the camera to the right, and perhaps you could move the camera or yourself a little bit. Yes, exactly like that, just more, so that you can see the river and the building completely in one picture. Yes, getting better. Just rotate more the camera, please, that we don't have too many trees on the left side. Just more building in the center of the picture, and the bridge just showed cut in the right part of the picture. Yes. So that's more of the arrival. That's great. Just rotate a little bit more so that there's no overlap in the bridge and the building. Oh, that's good. What do you think about that perspective? Not exactly like that, but in comparison to the bird's eye view.
Yeah, it really shows off that green surrounding, and how also the structure of the building given interesting shape that you see if you approaching towards the building. Yeah.
I think the bird's eye view shows a lot of the structure of the building and how it develops, but as we are going to start by the embedment of the building into the nature, it's easier to start with a perspective like that, and then we can still concentrate on the architecture in the following perspectives, because it's quite difficult to show too large storyline or multiple storylines in one picture. That's difficult. Perhaps there's someone missing. We need a arriving child, or a child in the foreground. What do you think?
Yeah, so maybe we can place someone around here sitting on the riverbank and watching. So just let's have a look to our library. What we maybe can find here. So someone sitting. We have a bunch of
sitting on the green. Yes.
People that be here. Maybe we also can go a bit through the different tags that's on the other. Maybe this girl with the apple in the hand.
That would be great. I think a child is better in this scenario than an adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have the little story, a simple story of a resting girl in the foreground. Okay.
Yeah, we also can play a bit around with it and rotate it, for instance, or move it depending on the depending on the situation itself. What do you think? Should we position it a bit more, or cut it, or it completely in the green?
Just not cut it, but do not cut it. But that's great. She's very she's not too dominant, but okay. It's the story of the girl with the apple. So yeah, great. So what I like very much here right now is that so she's the main actor, the protagonist. That's clear, and the building appears completely without being cut by any tree. Although the nature is very dominant too, there is a very small overlap between the bridge and the building, but that's absolutely fine. There's the river. There's enough nature and enough architecture. So, and the alignment of the building, the front part, the wooden part on the right side, doesn't overlap with the white middle part of the building, so it ends up with a window, and on the other side it ends up with a tree. All the lines are very, very clear. What do you think about this perspective?
Yeah, so I also like it. It really has this interesting foreground that immediately get you, that you want to sit down together with the child on the riverbank, and you see the structure. It doesn't look too big. That's always a problem in such projects when you have like a large building that it is too dominant in the surroundings, and that's quite nice. Also that the river really came in from the left hand side bit covered. What I don't like so much is the lighting of it, so it looks a bit dark. Maybe we should play a bit with the time, and we can have a
because I think in the themes of scenario and story, everything is fine.
Yeah,
and it's a good way to show a large architectural scale, but also the use of it. Okay, the light is getting much better right now as you are changing the daytime, isn't it? Yeah.
And so we can play a bit around, and you can see on the lower left, on the lower right, you can see the
okay, it should be perhaps some time of the day when the sunlight directly falls on the building, so there won't be great shadows.
So maybe something like this?
Yeah. Yes. With the light, just now there are a bit more shadows on the building. Perhaps you could go this one, perhaps. There's light on the river, there's light on the girl, there is sunlight on the building, and of course there is a shadow of the left structure on the middle structure, but that's it's the architecture that provides that. Okay. The bridge is enlightened. What do you think?
Yeah, that I like, and so that's also an important part within the workflow. If you set up if you change the time of day within Enscape, because we are retrieving all the information from SketchUp or any other CAD program to come back to this to this time. We have to set the time within SketchUp to this. So there was 9:30, if I remember right. And by changing it in SketchUp and updating the scene, we can come back in Enscape to exactly that time, or it will be changed when we are shifting views. Just to make it sure, I just change it a bit to 9:50, switching to a different view. Maybe the second one we will talk about. Shifting back,
right,
and then we should see that we are at the same. What I was missing, that's something that sometimes happens to me. We have to save the view at first, so that's something that probably a lot others of you also encountered when working. But you see, time is right, but we have to make a copy of the view. But if you set it up once, it's easier to come back to it afterwards. So let's go to the position where we are. We was a bit more to the left, have the girl in the front, river coming in really from the left. So maybe shifting it a bit backwards, going a bit to the back, going a bit upwards. So I think it was something like this, or maybe a bit more towards the building, huh?
Yeah, a little bit more towards the building. Yeah, that's correct. Without so many trees, so it's nearly, yeah, I think you got it again. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And there it's also possible to play around, and yeah, we will do a bit of post-production anyway. The CD light is much better, and what I now have to do is to create a new view. We will call it perspective 1, and we link the preset that we choose for that. We also can create multiple presets to have different setups for lighting and additional things that you can set up within the image properties, work with lights and shadows, saturation, and so on, and the atmosphere part. I think for this moment we don't go into the depth of field, or do you think we should use a bit of depth of field also in the picture? That I know is something photographers quite often do, and you also talked about it in your former sessions quite often.
Yes, you're right. We could do it right here, but I would prefer to use a wide range of sharpness in this picture, because it's as important to show the girl in the foreground as it is important to show the school in the background. So now using the depth of field with this wide focal length would cause an unnatural look. I wouldn't do that in this situation.
Okay, so I just render out a picture for you that we can go over this later on in the post-production.
Thank you. Perfect.
And yeah, and as you know, if there is something we have to change, creating high resolution pictures is quite easy. So at the moment we are rendering out an ultra HD picture, and yeah, that's really fast. And if there is something to change, we can start here, came back to exactly the same position and time in day to redo or edit if needed. So let's have a look for the second perspective, I would say.
That's amazing. While I produced visualizations, while I studied, we had to leave the PC on for 3 days to check if the materials were okay. So that's amazing what technology is able to. Yeah. Great. So next one.
Yeah. So
I like this perspective. So just you chose a perspective where the architecture now is in the focus, and we can deal with the image composition and use the uses of the architecture to help the composition, to make the composition better. Yes. As I normally have to use my eyes view, or a larger tripod, so about 180, 190, 2 meters perhaps, I would like to see this or a very similar perspective in a little higher, little more in the middle height. Could you go to the, yeah, perfect. And perhaps because there is this tree in the middle, which is exactly in the position to where the students can pass from one side of the building to the other side of the area. Perhaps you could go rotate or just move the camera to the right. Great. So you can have a look through the building. Just a little bit more. Yes. This looks good. So this is also the 2-point perspective I see in Enscape. Yeah, great. And yes, now we are highlighting the passageway. That's very nice. We're showing the wooden structure of the building and the white structure, the middle part, left and right, everything's fine. Perhaps you could move a little bit upwards, just to fit the lines of the middle part and the right part of the building on one line.
You think of this line?
Yes, so that the curve just continues flowing through the picture. Oh, great. Yeah, exactly like that. Thank you, Norbert. And perhaps you could just let the line of the rooftop of the white part of the building flow into the right corner. Yes, exactly this one. Okay, so that it leaves the building exactly into the right corner. And now a little bit, yeah.
So you think of something like that?
Like that, but perhaps without the large tree in the foreground. Is it easier to find now the perspective to move a little bit towards the building or just delete the building? I don't know what's more comfortable.
Maybe going a bit backwards to also cover a bit more of the left structure, or rotate. But yeah, that's what we quite often do in visualization. We just cut the trees when it doesn't look so nice, but they are standing there. They should be there, so we should not fake it too much. Yeah. I would say. So maybe we have to
try to move toward. Oh, that's you're just getting it. Yeah, it's just one step forward. So that you can see the staccato of the 4 smaller trees. Yes. And now, yeah, great. So that's it. So that's, I think, nearly perfect. Perhaps it's a little bit too much space on the left side between the border and the beginning of the building structure on the left side. But okay, and now rotate the camera just around to the right. Okay, that's great. Okay.
Yeah. So we are.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, that looks nice. So we are taking the line from the rooftop, positioning to the center of it, looking for a lines that going through and matching that we have an harmonic composition of it, and yeah, covering a bit. But maybe here on the left a bit is missing, so maybe I would have a bit of that tree in here. So yeah, by going a bit forward and back, maybe something like that. What do you think?
Yeah, it's great. So there's something now in the left corner. That's perfect. There are the wooden lines of the facade are tilting a little bit, but that's no problem. I can fix that in the post-production. And there is a little bit of space on the left side. The trees are in the same distance, what looks very clear and makes the picture appear really clear. I like, even though I like the student's eye view, this higher perspective is great because you can see the open space which should be used, the next step, I think. And you can see the passageway that leads the students to the other part of the other side of the building. And you can have a look into the rooms upstairs on the superstructure. So
yeah. So
I like this perspective.
When you say you go over it in the post production and want to cut and stretch a bit, should I may give you a bit more room to do so that we have
okay, that's enough. Yeah, you're right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Perfect, but that's enough.
Okay,
great.
And so maybe again having some people in the foreground sitting here, that looks a bit empty to me. Or
yeah, we should do that. Yeah, you should put someone perhaps on the left side sitting or resting. I would I think 2-person would be better to have a little part of a storytelling.
I will save the perspective.
Okay.
Link the visual preset that everything that we do there is stored and kept for the next step. And here's something that may be important for you if you not already know. All these perspectives I create here are also created inside of SketchUp, so I also can shift inside of SketchUp to these positions, and now I'm free to place people inside of SketchUp. That's also possible, or I can place them within the Enscape view. And so let's have a look for some people, someone sitting there, because there is a lot of them. I use my tag and look for education to have someone, and yeah, maybe this girl over there looks quite nice. Should we place her on the bench here or here? What would you say?
Perhaps this one, yes. Because the structure of the building on the right side appears much larger than on the left side, of course, because of the bend of the building. And I think that a couple sitting on the left side, or one sitting and the other one standing, I don't know, could help to arrange more stability. Yes, that looks good.
And then maybe someone walking.
Yes.
Maybe him, or do you have any preferences?
Oh, what is that? A girl in the jeans in the middle, second one from top. Yes, this one perhaps.
Yeah.
Is that a girl passing by? Yes. What do you think?
Yeah, that's good. Directly beside her, or a bit more on the street?
Do they know each other?
Yes. They're going to the same school. It's not a huge school, so probably they knowing each other. So
yeah,
could
so
make
their friends are now meeting together. Okay. Yeah.
So maybe we rotate her a bit, that they are watching each other.
Perfect.
And yeah, so quite nice to move them right here, or we can even place them a bit more together. What do you think about that?
Great. A very small story situation in a large architectural scale. It's easy done. There are bicycles in the middle part of the picture. That's another piece of usage in this picture, and there are people in the passageway, so it's quite easy and fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do you have birds in your library?
I think we also have some birds over there.
That would be great. For the left corner, perhaps there is a bird missing, or 2 flying birds.
Some flying?
4 flying birds. Oh, that's a great library. I don't know, what do you prefer? 2 birds, 4 birds, a couple of birds, or many birds? As I see.
I would say just let's place them there, and
oh no, that's all okay. Flying, are they flying or sitting?
At the moment they are flying quite deep, but I can move them upwards into the sky if you want and place them somewhere. Somewhere there, or
oh, this, yeah, that's better. Like that, yeah. Ah, cool. Okay, that's it.
Great. And the light also looking quite good. So let's render this out, huh?
I think we can yeah, use the light as it is.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. I love it.
So it's the summertime. The sun is high. The shadows don't fall very far away. They are very close to the trees. Of course, there's the shadow of the superstructure down in the passageway. That's of course can nothing do against that. Looks very good. There's enough light on the building. So just render it. Not that.
Okay. Yeah, and then questions. So at the moment, I'm just rendering standard JPEGs, which is quite good for photos or renderings. Do you may need also some additional channels to adjust afterwards, like materials or textures or other thing for this perspective?
For this one, I don't think that I need the channels, additional channels for this one, and also not for the first one. But as I had already had a view, I had a view on this picture as you sent me the perspectives, so just the model. I think that I could use the material channel for this picture very well to work on the materials, the structure of the wood, but I don't think that it's necessary for the exterior perspectives. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Great.
Yes. So
okay.
What does you think about this one? So we want to emphasize the inner courtyard and the light coming in, and that it's possible to go around here, and you have many possibilities to see other people, to interact, to talk to them. So we don't wanna have this like dead long floors, and we want to have some place which is mainly lit by sunlight, have a bit of green and water also inside here, and with some natural stone as flooring. And especially what's really important about that area is to showcase also here that we are using this wooden structures, also as a symbol of the ecological approach we are taking within that project, and also wooden doors and so on. Yeah. And yeah, so coming back to the perspective that we thought of would be something like this.
Yes, I like this area of the school building very much because of this very beautiful atrium. And as you already explained, Norbert, it's a very special place in that building. And because of that, I feel that the corridor is a little bit too dominant here when it comes to communicating the merits of the atrium. Even through the materiality is very nicely chosen. Perhaps we should try to adjust the perspective to show a little less of the corridor and more of the atrium. The place you've chosen for this perspective is quite well, I think, because there is no wall behind you, so we could try to manage the correct distance to the atrium, but perhaps putting the atrium in the center and cutting away the left and right boundaries of the corridors not only clearly highlights the atrium, but also suggests more space around it. So, because now there is always a boundary, left and right.
Yeah.
Okay, stop. Yeah, perfect. This is the right direction. There's a little bit, just a small piece or rest of wall I can see on the left side and also on the right side. Perhaps you just have to move one step forward.
Yeah. Or playing bit with the field of view could also work, exactly. Or also can try to go a bit backward.
Great. Is there any way to move the camera a little bit to the left to eliminate the white, this small piece of the white door, this stripe of white on the right side of the atrium? Do you see what I mean? This door, yes, exactly this one, yeah. This could work if there is enough space to walk to the left. Ah, yes, okay.
So something like this?
Something like this, exactly, great. So there's no wall on the left. There's no boundary of the corridor. It seems much more spacious. The same on the right side. And what we could try to do, although it means that we're again leaving a little bit the eyes height, just move the camera a little bit upwards. That's enough. Because I think it's more interesting to show the beautiful material than of the wooden one instead of the floor. What do you think?
Yeah, that looks quite good and have a good flow and not such intersecting faces and colors. Yeah, it looks good. Should we give that a try?
Yes, let's do that. We need perhaps, what do you think? Someone on the right side? Is there someone missing?
Yeah, for sure. But at first, remember always creating a view.
Creating a view. And there is someone in the background behind two glass panels. Great. Someone walking exactly at the right place. That's an advantage.
This one?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, great. He is there at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, we already placed a couple of people for like also internal visualizations we did. And so, okay, so let's go with this. And there's something because after I've seen your sessions and hearing so much about the golden ratio and Fibonacci and so on, I tried out a little tool that I can use, like when photographing with an camera, where you can see these lines and grids. It's a quite nice and funny tool. It's called Window Top, and what I can do with this is I have a quite easy Word document with which a picture I take from the internet, and when I use this tool, Window on Top, I can say set this window on top, and I can make it transparent, and I can look through. I can set this up. I can make it quite low from opacity, and then I can adjust the picture or this overlay to match my rendering, and now I have something like you can see when you look through your camera, and I can activate at least. That's the real killer function. Enable click through, and now I can play with my perspective when I'm at the same time see my great. And so I have the opportunity to position that probably a bit more into the center. What would you think? Should it be really in the middle of it, or?
So there's in situations like that, it's always a question if you're using the whole width of the wooden part of the column, and or is it the point upwards when it meets the ceiling? Yeah, just a bit upwards. Exactly. This is exactly the middle right now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, this part is exactly in the middle, and I think this is a quite dominant part of the picture. Of course, the atrium isn't exactly hasn't the same dimensions on all sides, so we have to make a decision right here. Mm-hmm. But I think that it's great how you have chosen it. It fits very well. Mm-hmm. So of course, the structure is now leaving to the left corner, but not to the right corner. But that's clear. Okay, you have the Fibonacci spiral too.
Yeah, we also can play a bit around with this and.
Great. Okay, that's an example. We talked about it in the webinars. You won't see the Fibonacci spiral, I always said, in two parts of the webinar. But in this case, it's absolutely clear as you put it on the picture. That's great. So the spiral shows exactly the way the wood develops in this picture.
Yeah.
So this is okay. There are people on the left side, then the very beautiful wooden part of the building, and then coming back down to the floor. So now you see exactly, Norbert, where just someone is missing in the picture.
Yes, I would say on that place, huh?
Mm-hmm. And in this, at this point, definitively, yeah. Perhaps even where the spiral touches the border of the picture.
Yeah. So maybe go for the sitting Marie.
Ah, okay. Yes.
Place her over there. Rotate.
Ah, she is.
And shift her a bit to That she just looks like sitting there.
She's packing. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I understand.
So, would this position be okay, or should it be like in the center, really?
I think that it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can come up with someone else.
Yeah, perhaps someone walking into the picture.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, so from the right side, it would be good to have someone.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a teacher. Should he look toward the picture, so coming into the picture, or better walking outwards? What would you say?
Into.
Into,
yeah. As we're going to cut him on the right side, it would be easier to recognize that there is someone coming.
Yeah.
So there is a face. So is he coming into this space where the girl is sitting and packing her bag, or is he coming into the picture to leave into to walk into the corridor?
Good question.
What do you think?
So maybe walking into the corridor. Should he intersect with that, or be more?
I think perhaps smaller and rotating.
Or should he came out of?
So that he's coming into the picture from the right and walking to the corridor on the in the background. Oh yeah.
Like I get what you think of. So something like this.
Yes. I can get more into the picture. Yes. Because I think that the girl in the foreground has a very nice she's sitting in a very nice position in the picture, and she should be the most dominant person in the picture. And because of that, I think that the teacher in the background shouldn't take too much space in the story of this picture. Yeah. So he's in the background, he's coming into the picture in the background, and he's going to leave when he goes into the corridor, but just in the backward, not in the foreground.
Okay. Cool.
What do you think of that? So that's okay. So two persons, three persons on the left side, one on the right, and one in the center. Great tool, Norbert.
Yes, thank you.
Great tool. I think we wouldn't have recognized that this one is working well with the Fibonacci spiral.
Yeah, it's good to have this.
If you did not manage that overlay.
Yeah, and so
cool.
It don't always have to be, but it's an easy catch to have on layover and especially for placing stuff around, and it really feels good that she's sitting there and not in the corner or something.
Yes. Yeah. And as you see, she is not just sitting in the center of the spiral. It's, of course, again, in nearly a third of the picture. So that's automatically, of course, it's automatically, because the Fibonacci spiral is working in thirds too. So it's working out very fine. And in this picture, I think for this perspective, it would be very helpful to have an additional channel. For example, the material channel, or
to go a bit over the wooden structures and so on. We also can play, as you know, here a bit with that stuff. But you are the pro by doing this, also like you do for your photos that you do for us, and that's why I would give you that in a special format with all the channels that you can play with it. But there's one thing that I doesn't like so much. That's the light, how it comes in. It really looks a bit dark. I would say let's play a bit with the light too.
Yeah.
And just tell me what you think. So if I shift to the afternoon, you see how the sun is going around, and also from the location of the object, it's at high noon. It really comes orthogonal. So if we are going a bit more to the morning,
yes,
I really like that type.
Just a little. It's 9:30, I think. Let's go to 10 o'clock. Yeah, about 9:30. Yes. So there's a little bit of light on the right side of the column. Yes, this one. That's, I think. Because I think we could try to manage the light falling on the floor exactly in one line of the atrium structure, but that would be too much scripted, I think. So this one.
So just having a.
Yeah, that's too.
Where we are coming from. High noon, 12 o'clock.
Too geometrical. Yeah.
Yeah, and this really gives a better look.
Light. There's an atrium. There has to be much light. I think this one fits perfectly.
Okay, and just remember to also set this within SketchUp. Change the time of day to the appropriate time and update the scene, and we can come back to that. I also can only update what's necessary, but I will do for the complete one. And we can provide that. And now, let's check the export settings. So inside of the output tab, I can close this one. You see you can for each visual preset, we can save all the different types. We also played a bit with the size of the picture and the aspect ratio that it matches the scene, and I can export to different channels like the object ID, material ID, depth channel, alpha channel. We will see afterwards what we can do with this in post. Is it okay to go with an JPEG, or you may well have an open EXR with a higher dynamic range? Or isn't that necessary?
I think for this situation, the JPEG is enough.
Okay.
Yes, and it's standard, so it will work.
Yeah.
Fine.
One thing that's important for the depth channel, we have to define which is the range of our picture. So foreground will be white and the variant will be black. So that's why we have to set the depth range in conjunction to our special scene or setup. So can define a folder where to place it, and then it's all saved, and we can just take the screenshot, perspective 3, and render it.
Great.
And you can also see when it gets rendered, the quality increases too. And if we have a look into the pictures that we have done, you see there is no alpha mask against the background. We have this depth channel, seeing black in the back. We have different colors for this different materials we assigned within SketchUp. And we have a picture with different colors for all the different objects. And I think you can select that and work with that afterwards. But yeah,
Yes.
let's have a look what we produced here. These are already, I think, really good pictures. I like these perspectives and the light situation, and yeah, the second one, especially with a bit of the birds in the upper corner. And our first picture with the girl. And yeah, so I saved this all to the Dropbox because we are sitting still in home office and not side by side, but that's cool. Using Teams or any other tool to share work together is working really well. And yeah, in the next step we will see what you are doing with this, and we're making a short break to switch scenery, and yeah, come back in a second.
Okay, we had already a project overview and talked about the model. Then we adjusted perspectives, the crops, scenarios, and the lighting. After that, we rendered the perspectives, 3 perspectives, and now, in the next step, we would like to go to the post-production to bring things to the point. I would like to use Adobe Bridge for that, because Bridge is a free software which everyone can use. It's a good opportunity to manage the files, have a look at them, and switch to Camera Raw, a tool of Photoshop, to work on the pictures. So let's start with the first one, perspective 1. And with the combination of Command and R, we can open the picture directly in Camera Raw, which offers mainly the same tools as Lightroom does. And would not start with the exposure, but I would start, in this case, at the end of the list of tools which are offered to me. For example, the effects. It's not very often see that we use the vignette for architectural images, but in this case, as we are showing these pictures to the city and to parents for showing them what this project is going to look like, I'm going to use the vignette to make a more cozy and nice look, and to bring the eyes, the view of the people to the center of the picture. So 30 in this case, there are a lot of ways to do that. Just try and see which one you prefer the most. The geometry in this case, we don't need to do anything because Norbert straightened the pictures very well. This might be interesting in the last perspective, the optics as well. He doesn't need to touch, but as we are trying to produce some cozy images, you're going to touch the colors. So color grading, you can decide if you're going to touch the highlights, the midtones, and the shadows. We're starting with the highlights, and I prefer using the color 40, which is light orange, which I'm going to use for the highlights. Now look at the difference. It's very slightly in the highlights, now in the sky and in the top of the girl. Perhaps 20, not too much, that is okay. The midtones, I prefer some pink. Just try your favorite colors. Depends, of course, on what you're post-processing. This one shouldn't be so much, for example, 5. or 7. See the difference? It's just very light processing. 10, that's okay. Now switch to the shadows, where I normally use this warm tone 280, that's purple. I think 10 would be too much. No, that's okay. So we will see the difference in a few seconds. Okay. Color grading, that's okay. Color mixer, so here you have got the possibility to change colors or to make them lighter or darker, but we're not going to touch these ones. But the details, sharpening the image a bit. So as we are working on JPEGs and not on raw material, we have to work very attentive. Masking it with the alternate button. So we're just going to sharpen the lines and not the surfaces. Otherwise you'll see some fragments in the picture, and that's not very nice. That's okay for the details. So we don't have to work on noise reduction or color noise reduction, because there is no noise reduction in this case. I don't touch the curves normally because I work in the basic field. So, and there is interesting the blacks, to pull them down a bit, just to have more shadows in the picture, but at the same time more black, darker black parts of the picture, and at the same time going to increase the shadows a bit. Let's try to, yeah. But going to do too much, it would be too artificial. The look would be too artificial, so 20 should be enough. And now reduce the highlights, just that the soft clouds will appear more. Perhaps more of that. And now increasing the exposure of the whole image after adjusting the vignette and everything else. So now I'm just going to concentrate on the exposure and try very softly to... Okay, after that, after having set the exposure, I'm going to check if there is a little bit more vignette possible, but I think it's going to be too much and too much like a painting. So it's not an architectural painting; it's a visualization. So I would leave it for this for this moment, and crop with the button C for crop, or you can choose it here on the right side to put the girl a little bit more to the corner, to the border of the picture, like that. So the school is right in the middle of the picture, the most interesting part, which is in focus. The third line now is on the grass and goes through the shoulder of the girl. So that's okay, there's enough green space on the right side as on the left side, and everything is fine for the time now. That's okay. Now the very comfortable part, you can copy all the settings with the combination Alt, Command, and C. It's like here. I copied already. No. Exit. Oh. So you normally use the combinations. So it's Alt, Command, and C. And now the comfortable part, just switch to the second perspective and Alt, Command, and insert with V. So copy, paste. What are we going to copy? That's everything fine, just the adjustments, not the crop. Okay. And it's done. Command and R, we are going to open it in Camera Raw again. And as we talked while rendering, we're now going to geometry and straighten the image. There's an automatically way. Doesn't work out very fine, as you see. So now we're going to do it manually by drawing lines. This one should be straight, definitively. Oh, sorry. And of course, on this side, I take the window because it's a dark line, this one. And now, as you see, the wooden part is straight. This one almost straight, but that's okay because we're going to crop again just to the border, to the edge, to the edge of the white structure here. And I would like to let it flow exactly into the corner. That's too much. Okay, that's it. I don't like this little line on the right side, so I'm going to crop a little more and hope that nobody will recognize that. That's a little bit difficult because there are too many processes running right now here. Just move a little bit downwards. Okay, that's it. I'm sure there are a lot of things, there are a lot of possibilities to work on, and you can spend hours on one picture. I'm going to show the basic things I would do and recommend for changing the feeling you're communicating with one picture. So just copy, it's still copied, and now going to the third perspective and copying all the settings to this one. Okay, and as you see, this one is a little bit too dark. Now we have to do some special adjustments here. For example, increasing exposure. And as there are a lot of wooden parts in this picture, wooden elements, I would decrease the purple color in the shadows and the pink in the midtones, because this is absolutely too much for this picture. I don't want it to look too colorful. No, that was not correct. Okay. Now the midtone, 320, back to 5. So it looks much more natural and not too pink. Okay. As I wanted to work on the structure with the help of the alpha channel, material channel, I'll open this one, and that's the object picture. This is the material picture. It's easier for me then to choose the right objects. There's a tool bar on top and say Photoshop, load files into Photoshop layers. Now let's have a look at this. So there's one JPEG with 2 layers, both of them perspective 3 material and perspective 3. So in this picture, I'm going to select this color without tolerance. So there's only this darker wood in the selection. And now I'm going to this layer and just adjust the exposure Okay. There's the bar missing. I have to put it here. Okay. With a mask. We'll work on the tones right now, but just on the selected area. As you see, we're just going to work on the selected parts. That's enough just to highlight it a bit. And now, and have a look at before and after. Just easy as that. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to save it. As it should be the right folder, but no, it isn't. So to do it more easy, I don't need a PSD right now. JPEG is enough. Not the library. Excuse me for that. I don't know why he's switching all the time. JPEG right here. Okay, everything's fine. You can close that right now. And as we already prepared a before and after example for you, I'll show it right here. So this is the first idea, the perspective Norbert presented to me at the beginning of this webinar. This is what we decided to visualize, this perspective, and this is then in the next step the perspective after the post-production. The second one, after adjusting everything, perspective, crops, scenery, and editing. And the third one, from the idea to the rendering before and after post-production. So some very easy and fast ways to put out more out of your renderings. Okay, so let's summarize what we talked about. We talked about many large topics during the first 3 webinars: the eye of the photographer, the photographer's camera and lenses, the opponents and allies. We talked about the story that is transported, emotions that are aroused, atmospheres that are created, but also about the point of view, the positioning and orientation of the camera, the composition of the image details, and about the subject. All these factors of seeing, but also the technical aspects, such as the focal length and the aperture, and of course the light, are basically all means of communication. If you have good ingredients, know what you want to end up with on your plate, and stick to the recipe, you'll end up with a good dish. And if you take to heart the storytelling tools at your disposal, you will surely end up with a text or a photo or a visualization that communicates what you want to tell. With the ease of use of most software products these days, users are also left with significantly more energy and focus on to unfold what is truly relevant. And I for the essential. If you have any questions, just let me know and write an email to the 5th of May to the email address shown in the picture. And just to remember you, the name of the software Norbert used to overlay the patterns in the visualization window is named Window Top. Thank you very much for your precious time. It was an honor to speak to you about my field of work, and would like to say goodbye and have fun with trying the things we captured together. All the best.
It was also a pleasure for me. I learned a lot of new stuff, and it's always good to discuss also perspectives and ideas of pictures. So that's why give it a try, have fun with Enscape, tell your stories and use renderings, videos, and also executables for your work. And enjoy Enscape and have a nice rest of your day. See you soon.
Thank you, Norbert, and thank you to the Enscape team. It was a pleasure for me to work with Enscape. All the best.